If you remember this, you are an OG like me. This is a mirrorless DSLR camera. I love this thing. Remember when taking a photo on a DSLR meant you had to master shutter speed, ISO, going through this complex dance of, setting your presets. One misstep, one mistake, and poof, the shot was ruined. But now we just whip out our smartphones and point, shoot, AI takes over, and we get these incredible photos with a single tap. Any advanced user interface is most impactful when it abstracts the complexity of the goal or the task at hand, right? Another way to say any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic, as if I were to quote Arthur C. Clarke. So here's the thing. Why are we expecting our users to become prompt engineers to harness the power of generative AI? Language is hard with other humans, let alone human-machine interaction through natural language. I think it's a lazy approach. It's holding us back. It's responsible for the hallucinations, bias issues, and risk issues that we have because we depend on humans to have to put them together system prompts, provide context. Some of my colleagues call these fuzzy human languages into something that a machine will be able to understand. And in this video, I hope to make my case that there's a whole world out there beyond conversational AI and chatbot interfaces. And you should probably consider what I'm about to share when building AI and integrated tools for your customers. And I'm not saying that chatbots are evil or bad. It's just a lazy interface. I want to talk about that. But first, what's going on? I'm Noble, an AI risk manager, fractional at Byte and Atom Research. And in these videos, I hope to share how I responsibly bring products to market, to production. And I hope to share that journey with you as well. And if you find this at all useful, do subscribe. Not to sound like a YouTuber, I'm not. I'm figuring it out as I go. But anyway, in my last video, I went on this little rant about Google and conversational AI with them, Google copying ChatGPT and them losing their way. And I want to sort of dive into this. So we know that human-computer interaction has evolved a lot from Windows 95 and the mouse and the keyboard and gestures and swipe of the first mobile apps. Human-computer interfaces have evolved a lot. I mean, I've been in product strategy, product management for well over a decade. And when I started out, in order to get lagging insights from my data, basically to understand my product performance, for example, I had to live in a SQL editor. I had to write joins in SQL code and where clauses in order to find little things like, which marketing campaign was leading to acquisition of new users over a period of time. But over time, that sort of melted away. Interfaces became very smart, and we started to witness this pattern of simplification, search improving, and it became more democratized. Finding information became more accessible, and we no longer, rarely ever, require a manager to write a SQL query in the world of business intelligence dashboards which is another video that I really want to talk about, why those suck. But I digress. We stand at a similar intersection or crossroad with large language models. That input box that you have to figure out how to talk to the thing just to get a consistent answer, or just to get the image that you want from Midjourney or whatever. It's the same thing. We are force feeding our natural language and the complexities and the baggage that we bring to these computers and expecting so much more from them, when the interface has evolved so much to do a lot of this stuff for us. Today, conversational-based co-pilots or just chatbots place this undue cognitive burden on users. Things that OpenAI made famous, given the success of ChatGPT, has made us lazy, and we expect our customers to become proficient in precise prompts to effectively communicate with a machine, with a large language model or generative AI thing. This is a step backwards, right? In the journey towards, making technology more accessible and friendly. If I'm not an English speaker and the model of my choice performs best for a specific task, I need to learn English in order to, So the future of LLM, large language model interfaces, doesn't lie in perpetuating this complexity. It actually, like how we design intuitive, natural, effortless interfaces really is going to distinguish future products that succeed in the market with AI. And I'm not just coming out of left field with this intuition. A lot of my thinking has been framed by a University of Cambridge white paper that at the time argued that this future of computer-based systems would need cognitive user interfaces to achieve a significantly robust and intelligent interaction. And I'll add that white paper in the description as a resource for you. These Gen AI solutions we know are everywhere now. We're hearing about them. I don't know how many products are actually integrating them, but I'm actually using a lot of products. And so I'll sort of talk about that today and what differentiates them and their utility and accessibility. But they're going to be in everything soon. I think we'll separate the tools that succeed from those that don't will be how they seamlessly integrate into our digital environments, guiding users through their interactions with the same ease as a conversation with a friend, without having to converse with a computer. The technology, again, should melt away in the background if the experience delight and solve real problems. And I'm going to argue that those are components that make up the apps that we deal with and what we can do there. And it just sort of reminds me, the reason why I brought up the camera thing and the sequel thing is just like how much we've gone away from having to do a lot of the cognitive thinking. It's a fundamental reimagining of how we design the relationship between human and machines. So what am I really proposing here? By providing context-specific suggestions, say that 3 times fast, predefined options, or even visual interfaces, we can significantly lower this cognitive load or burden on users while still harnessing the immense power of LLMs, for example. This approach not only mitigates the risk of hallucinations, the errors stemming from imprecise prompts and having to retune it and all that stuff that we've been doing, but it also makes the technology more accessible to a wider audience. So what does that look like? If you've seen my previous talk called Generative AI is an unreliable information store, you may recall I brought up a linguist called Paul Grice. Paul Grice was a philosopher of language his work illuminated subtle mechanics of conversation. He introduced this thing called the Cooperative Principle, a concept that revolutionizes our understanding of communication. This principle is based on 4 maxims. You've got quality, which is basically truthfulness, quantity, which means how informative the context is, relevance, which was pertinence to the conversation, manner, the clarity or brevity of that information. So these maxims describe how effective communication with humans in that context relies on shared expectations between the participants. I think there's a lot to learn from Paul Grice's work, and I will also include his work in the description. Now, consider applications that have done this well. Take Miro. If you're listening, Miro, you want to sponsor me, I'm just trying to make ends meet here. Anyway, consider their approach. Miro is this collaborative canvas board, and they integrate context menus and buttons to streamline user actions. They mirror, in my view, Paul Grice's maxims. When you're in Miro and you're engaging with the board, you're presented with relevant and clear actions. Say, for example, you're building a mind map, you see a little type in the goal, plan a vacation, and it's a mind map visualization. A single click on a button will allow you to sort of start thinking. It takes advantage of the large language model, the AI's latent space, and sort of just branches out without having that back and forth conversation. We don't need to guess or input complex commands to achieve our goal. And this simplicity and directness of these menus and buttons embody Grice's manner maxim, right? Offering clarity without overwhelming the user with information. That's a great use of an interface instead of a chatbot or conversational AI interface. I've done product management for years. I'm a big fan of Aha, which is another product management tool. I use it daily, all right? Aha blends large language model functionality into their user experience seamlessly. They bypass the need for chatbots. Instead, they present intuitive prompts and actions informed by what you're doing in the app. So say, for example, you closed a bunch of stories for your team, and you are ready to close a feature or an epic for that team, it would automatically create release notes, right, for you. And again, applies, this technique ensures that user interactions are relevant and clear. And I think that adheres to another one of Grice's maxims. For example, instead of the back and forth command with language models to say, all right, now create a release notes with this context, Aha just provides a smart suggestion, autofills that, and gives it to you and allows you to edit. And it's straightforward, efficient, right? And so applying Grice's principles to design of user interfaces, your products benefit from smart interfaces. And companies like Google and Adobe, Miro, Aha, you can create more intuitive experiences like that are less prone to errors and frustrations and back and forths associated with conversational AI. They offer a blueprint for the future of, again, HCI, human-computer interaction, one where the complexity of the technology is made accessible through thoughtful design versus the lazy interface where you chat like you do with ChatGPT. That has its purpose. I do not want to say it doesn't, but it shouldn't be how you think about bringing AI to market. So I'll end with a hot take. The unreliability that we encounter today of these large language models, hallucinations, reinforcement of biases, and other inconsistencies can be traced back to one fundamental issue. It is a cold start problem inherent to the blank conversational input box, that conversational UI that we're using to interact with these AI systems. It's like we've forgotten the principles of the cooperative communication laid out by Paul Grice. And by presenting users with an empty chat box, we're violating the maxims of quantity, relevance, manner, leading to this breakdown in effective communications between computers and the AIs that we depend upon. But here's the good news. At Byte & Atom Research, we're trying to solve that. This is not a sales pitch for Byte & Atom, but we're building a contextually aware system for user interface. It's going to be a library that you can sort of integrate eventually. And there's going to be more to come about that. And this is not the point of the video. I'm just sort of obsessed and passionate about this area. If you found any of this thought-provoking, as always, and you want to see the next video that I make in your feed, do subscribe. I need those numbers up. Thanks for investing your time with me, and I'll see you in the next video.